Good morning, students. Say your prayer. Thank you. நான் ஒரு நல்லாசிரியர். நான் உங்களுக்கு தாயாகவும் தந்தையாகவும் இருந்து முறையாக அன்போடு கல்வியை போதிப்பேன். நான் ஒரு நல்லாசிரியர். நான் உங்களுக்கு தாயாகவும் தந்தையாகவும் இருந்து முறையாக அன்போடு கல்வியை போதிப்பேன். நான் ஒரு நல்லாசிரியர். நான் உங்களுக்கு தாயாகவும் தந்தையாகவும் இருந்து முறையாக அன்போடு கல்வியை போதிப்பேன். Okay, students, take your social science book. Come to page number 180. So today we will start with geography. So the third lesson, atmosphere. So in the first two lessons you have learned about the lithosphere. So there are 4 spheres in earth. So what are they? Lithosphere, atmosphere, hydrosphere and biosphere. So lithosphere deals with the solid surface of the earth. So in the first two lessons you learned how the surface of the earth undergo various changes. So due to the natural forces, so how the earth undergo various changes you have learned in the first two lessons. So now in this lesson, atmosphere. So atmosphere, so what is atmosphere? So atmosphere is nothing but the gaseous layer of the earth. So you will learn about the changes that took place in the gaseous layer of the atmosphere. So how the changes took place. So where the changes took place. So what are the layers in the atmosphere. So you are going to learn about this in this lesson. So atmosphere. So first, learning objectives. So what are you going to learn from this lesson? First, to understand the composition and the structure of the atmosphere. So first you will learn about the composition. So what are the gases present in the atmosphere. So what are the most abundant gases present in the atmosphere, and the structure of atmosphere. So how the atmosphere was divided into various layers. So what are the layers present in the atmosphere. You will going to learn about that. Then to understand the difference between the weather and climate. So what is the difference between weather and climate? So both are related with the atmospheric condition. So related with the temperature. So what is the difference between weather and climate? You will learn about it in detail. And also the factors affecting the weather and climate. Then third one, to correlate the factors influencing the weather and climate. So the factors, so the relationship between the various factors that affect the weather and climate. So first you understand the difference between weather and climate, and you will learn about the factors. So various factors that influence the, so that have relationship, so which influence the weather and climate. Then finally, to recognize the classification of cloud, wind and rainfall. So how the clouds are classified, then how the winds are classified. Then finally about the rainfall. So there are different types of clouds, there are different types of wind, there are different types of rainfall. So what are they? You will learn. So you will be familiarized at the end of this lesson. So first you understand about the composition and the structure of atmosphere. Then so difference between weather and climate. Then the relationship, that is the correlate to the factors influencing the weather and climate. So various factors, so that affect the weather and climate. Then to recognize the classification of clouds, wind and rainfall. So introduction. Earth is a unique planet where life is found. So unique means a special planet. So there are 8 planets, but Earth is special one. Why? So can you imagine life on the Earth without air? No. So we need air. So we need oxygen. So living organisms need air for breathe. So in other planets also air is there. But it won't support life. So only the planet Earth support life. So the air is essential for the survival of all form of life. So the blanket of air that surrounds the earth is called the atmosphere. So atmosphere is nothing but the blanket of air that surrounds the earth. It is held close to the earth by the gravitational attraction. So the air in the earth is held close to the earth by the gravitational force. So because of the gravitational attraction, so the gases are present in the atmosphere. So earth is a special planet where life is exist, where life is seen. So the air is essential for the survival of all forms of life. So the blanket of air that surrounds the earth is called the atmosphere. So how the earth contains air. So what holds the earth with air? Yeah, it is the gravitational attraction. So air is held close to the earth by the gravitational attraction. So composition of the atmosphere. So atmosphere is a mixture of gases, water vapor and dust particle in different proportion. So atmosphere is nothing but a mixture of gas. So apart from gases, it contains water vapor and also some dust particles. See in different proportions. So nitrogen, so it occupies 78% and oxygen 20% are permanent gases of the atmosphere. So they constitute 99% of the total composition. So in atmosphere, so we have nitrogen, so 78% and oxygen 21%. So they constitute 99% of the total composition and their percentage always remains the same without any change. So the 99% of the earth atmosphere composed of nitrogen and oxygen. So they remain unchanged. So there is no change in this composition. So the remaining 1% is occupied by various gases. So 19% was occupied by nitrogen and oxygen. So just two gases, but remaining 1% occupied by various gases. Such as first one argon, so 0.93%, then carbon dioxide 0.03%, then neon 0.0018%, then helium 0.00005%, then ozone 0.00006%, and hydrogen 0.00005%. Then krypton, xenon and methane are also present in trace. So these are the gases. So argon, carbon dioxide, neon, helium, ozone and hydrogen, and krypton, xenon, methane. So these are the gases. So they are present in atmosphere. So just 1% composition is these gases. Then water vapor 0 to 0.4% is also found in the atmosphere, which plays an important role in predicting weather phenomenon. So water vapor, so important one. So it decides it helps to predict the weather phenomenon. So the other solid particles present in the atmosphere. So apart from the gaseous particles, so solid particles also present. So dust particles. So atmosphere is a mixture of gases, water vapor. So we discussed about the gases. So nitrogen, oxygen, then the remaining gases. So argon, neon, krypton, xenon, methane, hydrogen, etc. Then water vapor 0 to 0.4%. Then dust particles. The solid particles. So the solid particles includes dust particles, salt particles, pollen grains, smoke, volcanic ashes, soot, etc. So these are the gases, water vapor and dust particles so present in atmosphere. So the main composition is nitrogen and oxygen. So oxygen is most important for living organisms because most of the living organisms inhale oxygen. So they take oxygen so for respiration. So oxygen was discovered by Joseph Priestley. So the presence of oxygen in atmosphere was discovered by Joseph Priestley in the year 1774. So in this picture, so the right hand side, so he was Joseph Priestley. So who discovered the presence of oxygen in atmosphere in 1774. So carbon dioxide. So while we inhale oxygen and exhale carbon dioxide. So carbon dioxide absorbs heat and keeps the atmosphere warm by insulation and radiation. So carbon dioxide absorbs heat. So the carbon dioxide gas have the capacity of absorbing heat and keeps the atmosphere warm. So that's why so Earth we have a moderate climate. So because of the presence of carbon dioxide, so we have a moderate climate. So the carbon dioxide gas absorbs heat and keeps the atmosphere warm by insulation and radiation process. So nitrogen, so the presence of nitrogen in atmosphere was discovered by Daniel Rutherford. So you can see in the left side of this picture. So Daniel Rutherford, he discovered the presence of nitrogen in atmosphere in the year 1772 AD. So nitrogen acts as a diluent. So diluent means so which helps in dilution process. So because of nitrogen only, so various gases dissolves in air. So because of the presence of nitrogen, so various gases dissolves in air. So nitrogen acts as a diluent. So and is chemically inactive. So nitrogen is chemically inactive. So they are not active. Okay, so oxygen is the most important for living organisms. The presence of oxygen in atmosphere was discovered in the year 1774 by Joseph Priestley. Okay, then carbon dioxide gas absorbs heat and keeps the atmosphere warm by insulation and radiation process. So nitrogen. So the presence of nitrogen in atmosphere was discovered by C.E. Daniel Rutherford in the year 1772 CE. Then the nitrogen acts as a diluent and is chemically inactive. So ozone layer. So ozone helps in protecting the earth from harmful ultraviolet radiation. So ultraviolet radiations. So that comes from sun. Yeah. So the ozone layer helps in protecting the earth from harmful ultraviolet radiations. So shortly called as UV rays. Yeah. So UV rays are harmful to living organisms. Okay. So ozone layer so helps in protecting the earth. Yeah, so to prevent the entry of ultraviolet rays. So the solid particles in the atmosphere act as a nuclei on which water vapor condenses to form precipitation. Yeah, so the solid particles. So we have seen so that exist in the atmosphere. So helps so to water vapor to become precipitate. Yeah, so that only so the clouds are formed. Yeah, so the solid particles in the atmosphere act as a nuclei on which water vapor condenses. Yeah, so condense means gaseous to liquid form. Okay, so gaseous to solid or liquid form. Yeah, so condensation process you have learned in science, no? Yeah, so because of this process only, so the clouds are formed. So structure of the atmosphere. So the layers of the atmosphere. The atmosphere is thick near the Earth's surface and thins out until it eventually merges with space. Yeah, so the atmosphere is thick near the Earth's surface. Yeah, so when you move upward, so when you move towards space, so it gradually decrease. Yeah, so that it thins out. Okay, so the atmosphere is thick near the Earth's surface and thins out until it eventually merges with space. So the 5 atmospheric layers are, so there are 5 layers in atmosphere. So what are they? Yeah, Troposphere, Stratosphere, Mesosphere, Thermosphere and Exosphere. Yeah, so the 5 atmospheric layers are Troposphere, Stratosphere, Mesosphere, Thermosphere and Exosphere. Yeah, so we will discuss one by one. So Troposphere first, then Stratosphere, Mesosphere, Thermosphere and Exosphere. First the Troposphere. The lowest layer of the atmosphere is the Troposphere. Yeah, so it lies close to the Earth's surface. Yeah, so the lowest layer of the atmosphere is the Troposphere. So it is derived from the Greek word troposphere. Yeah, so the Greek word tropos means turn or change. Yeah, so the Greek word tropos means turn or change. So the layer extends up to 8 km at the pole and up to 18 km at the equator. Yeah, so the layer extends up to 8 km at the poles, that is at the north pole and south pole, it extends up to 8 km, and at the equator it extends up to 18 km. Yeah, so the temperature decreases with increasing height. Yeah, so in troposphere, so if you go height means so the temperature decreases, so that's why we feel so cold in the hill stations. Okay, so almost all weather phenomena take place in this layer. So since the clouds are formed in this layer, so all the weather phenomena take place in this layer, hence it is called as weather making layer. So the troposphere is called as weather making layer, so because all weather phenomena take place in this layer. So the upper limit of the troposphere is called the tropopause. Okay, so the layer that lies between troposphere and the stratosphere is called as tropopause. Then the second layer, stratosphere. So stratosphere lies above the troposphere. It extends to a height of about 50 km above Earth's surface. Okay, so stratosphere extends to a height of about 50 km above the Earth's surface. Since this layer is concentration of ozone molecules, it is also called as Ozonosphere. Yeah. So troposphere is called as weather making layer. Yeah. So stratosphere is otherwise called as Ozonosphere because of the concentration of ozone molecules. Yeah. So here the temperature increases with increase in height in this layer. Yeah. So in stratosphere, so temperature increases with increase in height. Yeah, so large jet planes normally fly here. Yeah, so jet planes, so fly in stratosphere. Then the upper limit of the stratosphere is called the stratopause. Okay, so troposphere, the lowest layer of the atmosphere. Then the weather phenomena take place in this layer, so called as weather making layer. Then stratosphere, so lies above the troposphere. Then ozone molecules are present in this layer. That's why it is called as Ozonosphere. Yeah. Here temperature increases with increase in height. Yeah. Then large jet planes normally fly here. So Mesosphere, so the layer that lies above the Stratosphere. Yeah. So Mesosphere extends between 50 kilometer and 80 kilometer. The temperature decreases with increasing height. Yeah. So in Mesosphere, so temperature decreases with increasing height. So in Troposphere and Mesosphere, so the temperature decreases with increasing height. Yeah. So because of the presence of water vapor and gaseous particles. Yeah. So because of the presence of water vapor and gases. Okay. So here the temperature decreases with increasing height. So most of the meteors nearing the earth get burned here. So most of the meteors. So meteors, what is meteor? Yeah, so which lies between Mars and Jupiter. So sometimes came to reaches the path of the earth. Okay, so they are also nothing but the asteroids. Yeah, so when it reaches the earth surface, they are called as meteors. Yeah, so meteors when reaching the earth surface, yeah, so they get burned in the Mesosphere. Yeah, the uppermost limit of the Mesosphere is called the Mesopass. Okay, so we have discussed about the Troposphere, Stratosphere, and Mesosphere. Yeah, so what is it then? Remaining two layers. Yeah, Thermosphere and Exosphere. Thermosphere. So the fourth layer. So Thermosphere exists above the Mesosphere. It extends up to 600 kilometer. Okay, so Thermosphere exists above the Mesosphere, which extend up to about 600 kilometer. So the composition of gases in the lower thermosphere is more or less uniform. Hence, it is called as homosphere. So the composition of gases in the lower atmosphere is more or less uniform. So almost the composition of the gases. If you take the troposphere layer, so the composition of gases vary. Yeah, but in the thermosphere, so in the lower thermosphere, so the composition of the gas is more or less uniform. So it is called as homosphere. Yeah. The upper portion of the thermosphere has uneven composition of gases, and hence it is called as heterosphere. Yeah, so the composition of gases in the lower thermosphere is uniform. Yeah, so called homosphere. In the upper thermosphere, it is uneven. So it is called as heterosphere. Yeah. So here the temperature increases with increasing height. Yeah, so in thermosphere, so temperature increases with increasing height. So ionosphere, it is a layer of the thermosphere that contains ions and free electrons. Okay, so ionosphere is a layer of thermosphere that contains ions and free electrons. So radio waves transmitted from Earth are reflected back to Earth from this layer. So radio waves, so which is used for communication. Yeah. So they are transmitted from Earth and are reflected back to Earth from this layer. So because ionosphere contains the ions and free electrons. And exosphere, so the fifth layer. So the uppermost layer of the atmosphere is called the exosphere. Yeah, so this layer is extremely rare-filled with gases. Yeah, so this layer is extremely rarefied, that is filled with gases and gradually merges with the outer space. Okay, so the uppermost layer of the atmosphere is called the exosphere. So this layer is extremely rarefied with the gases and gradually merges with the outer space. So the exosphere is characterized by aurora australis and aurora borealis. Yes, so what is meant by aurora australis and aurora borealis? So auroras are nothing but a cosmic glowing light. So you can see in this picture, so which you can view from the polar region. So in the polar regions, in the North Pole and the South Pole, during midnight, yes, at midnight, you can see the colorful sky. So why? How it occurs? So nothing but auroras are cosmic glowing light produced by a stream of electrons. So produced by a stream of electrons which are discharged from the sun's surface due to magnetic storm. So auroras are cosmic glowing light produced by a stream of electrons. So produced by a number of electrons. So which were discharged from sun surface due to magnetic force, magnetic field. So that are seen as unique multicolored fireworks. So you can see in this picture now. So multicolored. So multicolored fireworks hanging in the polar sky during midnight. So this can be seen in the polar region. So exosphere zone is characterized by aurora australis and aurora borealis. Aurora australis can be seen in the south pole. Aurora borealis can be viewed from the north pole. So we have discussed about the composition of atmosphere. So what are the permanent gases of the atmosphere? Yeah, nitrogen and oxygen. So the remaining gases were, yeah, argon, carbon dioxide, neon, helium, ozone, hydrogen, krypton, xenon, methane, etc. Yeah. Then the structure of the atmosphere. So what are the layers of the atmosphere? Yeah, troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, and exosphere. So what is the other name for stratosphere? Ozonosphere. Yeah. Then which layer is called as the weather making layer? Yeah, troposphere. Then thermosphere. So what are the two layers in thermosphere? Yeah, homosphere and heterosphere. Yeah. So in which layer so the radio waves are transmitted? Yeah, ionosphere. Then exosphere. So what was the important characteristics of exosphere? Yeah, so the presence of aurora australis and aurora borealis. Okay, so we have completed the composition and the structure of atmosphere. Okay, so if you have any doubt in this topic, so please contact me. Yeah, so take your book. So textbook reading. Yeah, take page number 180. So read the structure of the atmosphere. So read the 5 layers. So troposphere, stratosphere, mesosphere, thermosphere, and exosphere as textbook reading. Then homework. So take page number 190. So third thermometer, answer the following briefly. So first question, define atmosphere. For that, so take page number 180. So first introduction. So in introduction, so the fourth line. So the blanket of air that surrounds the earth is called the atmosphere. It is held close to the earth by gravitational attraction. So this is the answer for first question. Okay, so do your homework. So read well this question. Okay, and also textbook reading. So don't forget to read it. So have any doubt? So contact me. So thank you. Have a nice day.